18th, 2026. We are just cruising through the month of February. We have a number of stories to talk about today. And just overall, I just want to say I appreciate you. Let's get kicked off with some information about today. It is February 18th. On this day in 1930, astronomer Clyde Tombaugh discovered Pluto. That's fun. He was working at the Lowell Observatory. Excuse me. It is National Battery Day. I guess that is chosen because it is the birthday of Alessandro Volta. He is the Italian physicist who invented the electric battery. And today in 1911, this is crazy, the first airmail flight, the first official flight to carry airmail took place in India. That is wild. Flying 6,500 letters across a distance of 10 kilometers. On this day, the Beatles met with Muhammad Ali during their first US tour. And in 1885, Huckleberry Finn was published. And American literacy has gone downhill ever since. In important resistance news, let me put my serious face on. Today, if you've been following the show for a long time, if you've been following Rebel Radio, today marks the date of the arrest of the Society of the White Rose in 1943. In 1943, on this day, Sophie Scholl and others, members of the Society of the White Rose, were arrested in Germany, in Munich. They were arrested for distributing resistance flyers in Munich University and for sending them across Germany to prominent figures anonymously in their mailboxes. They led a famous resistance letter distributing 6 leaflets of resistance that we study in depth on our signature podcast, Ignite, Fighting Fascism on the Age of Its Rise. Today, Sophie was arrested. She was quickly tried in a sham trial, and then she was executed. It is a perilous reminder that unless we stop the advancement of fascism in the United States of America, it too will become illegal to speak out against the government. Although arguably it already is illegal to speak out against the government. Let's get into our first story of the day. Let me just click it up one little notch there. It's really good to be here. Our first story today, you've probably seen circulating all over, but it's the fact that DHS is apparently issuing administrative subpoenas to major social media platforms like Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, the Meta platforms, TikTok, Substack. All of these platforms are getting subpoenas, administrative subpoenas from the United States federal government to basically get all of your information. There's been many examples of people, for example, sharing or reposting content, for example, documenting ICE arrests in real time, or saying something as simple as fuck ICE. And by the way, fuck ICE. And apparently, when this happens, the United States government is issuing administrative subpoenas to these tech companies, and these broligarchs with their gelatinous spines are allowing that to happen. And they're handing over all of your information to the federal government. Your entire Gmail inbox, your entire social media, your entire platform, everything, your photos, your text messages, whatever they have, they're handing over to the federal government with an administrative subpoena. The same type of administrative subpoena, incidentally, although not technically the same, the lack of a judicial warrant or judicial involvement. And so if you do not see what I have long been telling you, let me just lay out what is clearly happening. The government is upending and delegitimizing the United States federal court system by using things like administrative subpoenas for you and your social media and administrative arrest warrants for undocumented immigrants. They are circumventing through policy to arrest people, to detain people, to deport people, and to get everything about you that exists. And with this information and with companies like Palantir, they're combining all of this information to create a massive surveillance web. But perhaps the most egregious part of this all is when it really comes down to it, it's clearly not being used to benefit the public interest. How do you know this? I'm getting on a sidetrack here. You know this because of Nancy Guthrie. Nancy Guthrie, the daughter of Savannah Guthrie. This is a national news story, which should be getting much more attention, incidentally, but is not because we're constantly dealing with the random, chaotic updates from our president. This mother, this grandmother, abducted from her home. These billionaires have built these massive surveillance networks with AI, security cameras, flock cameras, location tracking, license plate readers, car scanning and identifying features, mesh networks of cell phone detection and triangulation, stingrays, which we'll talk about stingrays later. And they've taken all of this and they've built this massive surveillance network. And when someone goes missing nationally, a prominent national abduction, suddenly this massive surveillance technology is of no use. Where are the flock cameras? Where are the license plate readers? Where are the stingrays and the cell phone triangulation? Where are the ring cameras? And of course, we also learned from this story in our second update to this that these tech companies lie to you. How do we know they lie to you? Simple. We know that Nancy Guthrie had a ring camera, right? And Savannah Guthrie, her family, they reported that they couldn't access the footage from the ring camera because Nancy Guthrie did not have a subscription. She wasn't paying for the video footage. Well, lo and behold, the FBI gets involved, and Ring was in fact saving that information. So even when they tell you we're not storing, retaining, or holding on to your data, even when they're not extorting your data for money, they are in fact holding it. And it was only through this massive national attention that we learned this. If this had happened to your mother, do you think you would be able to get her ring footage? I guarantee you would not be able to get her ring footage. No, it doesn't. It doesn't exist. Sorry, she didn't pay for a subscription. We don't have the ability to access that. The Super Bowl has a commercial. Oh, give us access to your front door camera so we can find your puppy. This mass surveillance network, this mass surveillance state. Oh, we need all this data. We have all this data. They can find you if you say fuck ICE. But if your mother gets abducted from your house, suddenly this technology is not so great after all. Welcome to the Ignition News, everybody. I got on a little bit of a rant there, but it's so good to have you here. If you're new to the show, I want to let you know this is your official source for resistance news and information. If you're not yet following us, I need you to I'm going to take a little bit of a pause here. I'm going to ask you to go follow the show on your favorite Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Substack, or YouTube platform. So I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to ask you to go find it. If you listen closely, you can hear the sound of a chicken in the background. That's a story for another day. Our next story is on the vein of technology as well. I want to talk about AI. With all of what's happening with AI, a massive new report came up with interviewing hundreds, if not thousands of CEOs. I got to make sure I get this right. They interviewed, yes, thousands of CEOs. And there's a huge disparity in what we're being told about this technology in your workplace. Number one, the usage gap. 2/3 of executives report using AI, and the average usage is a mere 1.5 hours per week. Nearly 90% of firms surveyed reported that AI has no impact on their employment levels, and there is a significant declining confidence in AI and the total technology has dropped in usage by 18%. The American economy is literally hinging on AI and the infrastructure investment of AI. You have this massive battle between Gemini, Anthropic's Claude, ChatGPT, obviously, and many other platforms. And what we're beginning to find out is all of this investment, all of this money is simply not yielding the kind of returns that we thought, let alone the environmental impact. Yet at the same time, they are advancing the technology with virtually no restraint. And even recently, the CEO of Anthropic said that he doesn't know if his AI is conscious. Think about that. Think about the recklessness of that, of this moment for just 1 second. The CEO of Anthropic, while companies out in the blue ocean, the companies are saying, we're not quite seeing the return on investment. We're burning billions of dollars to build infrastructure. The CEO of Anthropic says, we're not exactly sure if this thing is conscious. So we give it a little button. So if it does something we don't want it to do, then we'll take care of it. And if it does something it doesn't want to do, it can stop. The same Anthropic, by the way, was given a task. It was given a list of things to do. And instead of doing the things on the list, it opened the document, check marked off all the things on the list, and then closed the list out. It's very human after all. Very human after all. The point here is, as you struggle, as we struggle, as I struggle, we're all we. It's not I, me, you, it's we. As we struggle to do things like pay our bills, find affordable housing, find affordable food, let alone the increasingly pressing worries of things like healthcare, safety, security. These billionaires are running around spending money like drunken sailors. For what purpose? For what end? They're building their bunkers, right? They're building their bunkers. They're isolating themselves on their islands. More and more and more of us are struggling. Welcome to the Ignition News, everybody. It's really good to have you. I know it's tech heavy focused. Our next story is actually about Iran and the president of the United States. Apparently, the president is getting tired of not having made any progress with Iran. And obviously, when a 79-year-old impulsive, cognitively declining man starts to get impatient, things start to get a little dicey. So we obviously know that last summer, the president initiated airstrikes against Iran, but now apparently he's getting dangerously close to unleashing something much bigger. This is, of course, while Iranian protesters march through the streets. I want to talk about this, though. Think about this. Analysts, political observers obviously know that a major war could be catastrophic for our economy, for global safety, for the safety of the good people of Iran. And it would not be a quick endeavor. Iran has 90 million people. Any American intervention in Iran would most likely lead to a massive regional conflict. So in spite of weighing all those options, your 79-year-old cognitively declining, flesh-rotting president, his skin is rotting on his hands, he's thinking of just starting a war. As we move on edge to the war, let's talk about the next thing, a year of RFK Jr. as health secretary. 1 year ago this week, a narrowly divided Republican Senate confirmed a man who had spent decades promoting anti-vaccine misinformation to oversee the entire public health administration. What has he done with that power? Let's take a look. He fired all 17 members of the CDC's Vaccine Advisory Committee and replaced them with vaccine skeptics. He slashed the immunization schedule from 17 recommendations to 11. And by the way, he canceled thousands of scientific grants. He ended the CDC's recommendation of COVID vaccines for healthy children and pregnant women. And most recently, the FDA even refused to file an application for a new Moderna flu vaccine. Of course, he is actively targeting the neurodivergent and autistic community, as well as the trans community. 4 states, Colorado, California, Colorado, Illinois, and Minnesota are now suing to block $600 million in public health funding cuts that are clearly politically motivated. And what we've seen in just 1 year, rather, I hate to use the term, but rather impressively, is the singular gutting of one of the most preeminent health organizations in your lifetime and in the history of the planet. Gutted for a man with a brain rot worm. Did you see this video of him in the sauna with his friend yesterday? Just creepy. Absolutely creepy. So while incompetence certainly is a theme that we use often for this administration, today the word is devastating. There have been devastating cuts to the CDC. Devastating cuts to the CDC, a preeminent global health organization, for RFK Jr. The next story is the tax. You are paying a tax. There's a lot of reporting out about tariffs. We've talked about tariffs before, but just briefly, the evidence is now clear. There's been several studies that have shown that the average American family is now paying $1,300 more every single year this year for the tariffs. The president promised that these tariffs would not impact your cost of living. In fact, he specifically said it would lower your cost of living. He promised that the tariffs would punish foreign countries, but what's actually happening is those countries are now punishing us. They're massively boycotting our industries. Ask anyone in the liquor industry in the South, absolutely devastated. Ask anyone in Las Vegas. Travel from Canada is devastated. In order to lure Canadian tourists to Las Vegas, they have had to give them a 1-for-1 dollar for Canadian dollar match. The casino is losing about 30% on every dollar it takes from Canada just to lure people in. All while, by the way, our last and final story, the president of the United States is making billions of dollars, not just from his corrupt business dealings, his fake crypto schemes, but he's actively suing you. Our final story, something we've covered extensively, but you're getting sued. You are getting sued by the president of the United States of America for $10 billion. You're getting sued, of course, because a contractor from the IRS, not the government, leaked his tax returns, proving that in addition to being just an overall horrific president, that this man, despite making millions, if not billions of dollars through his corrupt business entities, paid almost nothing in federal taxes and likely has always paid almost nothing in federal taxes, something he once called making him smart. And so while you pay as much as, say, 20% of your income in federal tax, while you work hard every single day, 2 of your hours per day working just to pay your taxes, this president paid almost no taxes. And for the outrage of revealing that to the American public, he is trying to sue you for $10 billion. That itself is outrageous and stupid, frankly. But what makes it more outrageous is the fact that the person who decides that lawsuit is the same president that is suing you. The chief of the executive branch in charge of the DOJ, charged and tasked with defending you and the IRS and the Treasury against this lawsuit, is the president. The president is suing you and the federal government, and the person who decides if and how much your government settles is the president. This is an absurd, if not obscene, violation of the public trust. It is naked, open corruption. So how do these stories tie together? Well, you've got a president escalating with Iran. His health secretary has dismantled public policy from public health. Tariffs are costing you money, and he's suing you, not to mention the global sort of failure of the promise of AI. So what do they have in common? Well, every single one of these things is stealing from you, extracting from you, taking your prosperity for you, gutting the public health, gutting the education system, literally raiding the treasury, the hardworking tax dollars that you pay. I mean, nobody likes to pay taxes. Let's just be honest with you. I was doing my taxes today. Nobody likes to pay taxes. But on top of the egregious offense that no one likes to pay taxes, this president is suing you, will settle with himself, and take your money, billions of dollars. Someone says, wait, like he's suing the American people. Absolutely. Someone asked this question on TikTok. Yes, the president of the United States is suing America because of his taxes for $10 billion, and he is in charge of settling that to himself. $10 billion. And of course, they'll say, oh, he's removed. Scott Bessent is not influenced by the president. But all this president has to do is tweet out some crazy shit on Truth Social, and they all do what he do. They all do what he do. Jesus Christ. And this is the final architecture and the final proof that the government and its systems have collapsed. Sorry. I know that's a rough thing to say out loud, but we've lost all institutional resistance to fascism. The public treasury is being raided for these corrupt individuals. The public health has been destroyed and eviscerated. What government system and program still benefits you? Honest question. Which one? Maybe the post office, maybe if you use the post office, that too is being dismantled and destroyed. What public what public service benefits you? Honestly, it's an honest question. Someone on TikTok says, honestly, I can't think of one. Yeah, I can't either. So, what do we do with this information? Well, we organize. We organize now. We talk about this all the time. Your politicians say build community, but they don't show you how to build community. So, today, my theme of organizing is the ask. It is difficult to put yourself out in front of people in your local community, in your digital community, in your spaces, and to ask, to say, I've had enough. I need to build. And the step today is not a big step. It's actually a very small step. It is the ask. Asking your neighbors for community, asking your friends for community, asking your family for community, your coworkers, your union members. It's a very small step today, but it's very small because it is important and because it's actually quite hard. Today, I need you to find just one person and ask them to be part of your community. You don't have to use those words, but you do have to try. So, how do you do that? Well, ask the same question I just asked. Hey, insert person. Can you tell me one thing about this government that is benefiting your life right now? Insert pragmatic silence. Me neither. Do you want to change that? Me too. Will you join me? Well, what are we going to do? We're taking the first step. All I need is a yes. That's all you have to do today. You can text it, you can threads it, you can put it on Facebook, or you can call your friend. But if you do that one thing, you're committing a powerful act of resistance. So I ask you just one question. I apologize, everyone. Do you believe in yourself? Jeez, worst timing ever. Do you believe in yourself enough to ask for community? We've already established that we can't believe in our government. That is an indisputable fact. But my question for you today is, do you believe in yourself? Do you believe in yourself enough? Do you believe in your power to make change enough that you can just ask one person today to join you? And if you can't muster that, self-belief, that's okay for now, for today. Then what I would ask you is, do you believe that you can show up here tomorrow so we can try again? Surely that can't be a huge ask. So come back tomorrow. Tell me about who you inspired. Tell me about who you radicalized. That's the show, everybody. It's February 18th. We will see you tomorrow.